You're listening to Unqualified and Unafraid, the podcast where I interview young emerging creatives in Adelaide about just going for it and pushing through self-doubt. Shah and Josh are the creators of an independent magazine called Nothing Special. It's based online and in select stores and aims to highlight what's on in Adelaide, especially in the Adelaide music scene. They do band profiles, gig guides, artist features, and so much more. At a time where people are super critical about print media dying, I think that it's super cool that these two creatives have brought forward something that is so full of life. Keep listening to find out what's in store for Nothing Special and what it's really like to run an independent magazine in Adelaide. Alright, so before we begin, I'd just like to acknowledge that we meet on the lands of the Kaurna people and they were the original storytellers, and this land and sovereignty was never ceded. Shah and Josh, thank you so much for coming on.
No worries, thanks for inviting us. It's lovely set. It's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. Yeah, it's very professional.
Thank you so much. I'm going to start with asking, when was a time, and you can each answer this individually, where you felt unqualified but you chose to be unafraid?
Honestly, I still feel kind of unqualified for most of the things
we
I do.
feel very unqualified and very afraid all the time.
Yeah.
But so basically, whenever we do anything, I guess. But at first, so this whole thing first started, the seed was planted with one of my friends, Kate. And she was like, oh, it'd be great if it was like a magazine run by younger people. And there was already one Friend magazine, which I already knew of. But I feel like it was, like, they're great, but they're doing like a different side of like Adelaide creatives. And that's great, but I think we needed another thing for the other side. And I was like, just talking with you one day, like, oh, what if we just started an Instagram account and I just did music reviews? And you're like, yeah. You're just like, yeah, go for it. So, okay. And then you edited. And then I was doing reviews once a week, like 4 songs. I don't know how I did it, thinking back on it. It was a lot. It was just 2 of us doing it, like graphic design, everything.
Every week, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like at the time I think I was at uni or debating on leaving uni, and I just felt frustrated. I'm like, I want to do something else than what I'm doing at uni. And, made the first issue on like Pixar on my phone and then got you to look over it and we posted it and it was pretty well received. So I'm like, all right, there's something in it. And then so we did that for a year. And then now we're doing a monthly magazine where we're even more afraid, even more unqualified. So yeah, that's I guess
every
that's
day
answer.
you kind of make the choice to
keep
going despite how you might feel.
Yeah. It's always like every time it's like we're always nervous, but once we get it done, it's like okay, cool.
Yeah,
it's all right. We know what to do better next time. It's just getting better and better. And I feel like there's like a David Bowie quote or something, just to be a little cringe, where it was just like, if you don't feel like this isn't exactly what he said, but if you don't feel slightly anxious whenever you're doing something, you're not like pushing yourself enough. Not saying that you need to be like
having a panic attack.
I don't want to promote people being like, if you're not stressed out about what you're doing, you're not doing it right. I don't want to insinuate that at all. But I feel like if you're feeling slightly unafraid to do something, do it, because, what's the worst that can happen? Kind of. It's kind of been my mentality. Yeah.
Got to go out your comfort zone every now and then.
Yeah.
If you want to sort of grow as a person and stuff.
So maybe it would be good if both of you introduce yourselves individually and who you are, your age, what your main like creative outlets are.
I'm Josh, 22. And yeah, I guess my main sort of outlet for creativity is music. I'm in 3 bands. I play bass, I play keyboards, and then also write for this magazine as well, Nothing Special. And yeah, like with the magazine, I sort of write Fashion Hurts, which is like, I sort of look at the relationship between music and fashion and sort of how they make an impact in like culture. And obviously those are 2 things I'm very passionate about. So yeah, it's a good way for me to sort of like explore more into music and like aesthetic within bands and artists and stuff. And then yeah, obviously music, which is the biggest one for me. Which again, I still feel very unqualified with it. Like the first band I joined, Sunnyside Drive, I never played bass in my entire life.
It's kind of a funny story.
Yeah. Like I pretty much I bought a bass because I was like, I want a bass. So like I've been playing guitar for a bit, but I want something different. And then I posted that on my Instagram story, and then Cam, who is the lead singer of Sunnyside Drive, he literally just hit me up, was like, do you want to play bass? And I'm like, Sure. Never played it in my life, but I'll give it a go.
That
And
is the epitome of
Yeah.
unqualified, unafraid.
did it, yeah.
You won.
Yeah.
Pack it up, guys.
Yeah, oh,
Exactly.
shoot's cancelled.
Yeah.
Legit.
Well, I'm Shah. I'm 20. I'm a writer slash graphic designer slash interviewer, as many labels as I want to give myself. I started Nothing Special with Josh. It was first Nothing to Do, and that started when I saw that there was a bit of a hole. I was really passionate about the music scene, and we went to gigs like all the time. Not as much
So we-
anymore. Now we're like grandparents. We went
Yeah.
too hard, too fast.
Can't
And
do
we're
it.
like, we just stay on the couch and knit, you know, literally.
We do that really.
We love it. Promote
A
it.
lot of people, you're not the first people to say that today.
It's
Yeah.
Great.
It's
So
I
good.
recommend, if you are a very stressed out or anxious person, learn how to knit. Replace that with doom scrolling, you're fine.
Yeah,
Fine.
yeah.
But yeah, I saw that there was a hole in like the music scene. Like there was not as much promotion as I wanted there to be, because I had a lot of friends tell me like, oh, you got all these gigs and you guys seem so cool. How do I get to these gigs? And I was like, oh, you like, you know, I just follow like all these people I know that are in bands and all these bands that I like, and that's how I know. But there wasn't really at the time a one-stop shop apart from I think top 5 gigs
Yeah.
that would show you where all the gigs were. And so that was kind of the main draw for people. But now we're zeroing more on like the music side of it, like interviewing people, reviewing music, all that. And it's like a monthly issue instead of a weekly issue, because it was not sustainable what we were doing for that year. I was literally like for 2 days straight writing everything and then sending it to you, and you like scrambling the gobbledygook and be like, okay, this is good enough. We'll put it out. But yeah, I went to uni twice and I did not enjoy it.
Right. What did you study?
I first studied, what was it? Creative industries, and I was doing film and arts. It was like, I feel like it was so new and they didn't really know what they were doing.
Right.
Like in the course, like the camera guys behind are like, yeah. And it's like, I feel like, yeah. I think the best way to describe the course would be that basically imagine you're in high school, they put all the drama students, all the art students, all the music students into one class, and like, okay guys, here's one assignment that's going to fit all of what you do. I don't need this piece of paper. I felt like I just went into it because I went to like a high school that's like, you need to go to uni, and you know, you can't really get a job if you don't go to uni, all that sort of stuff. So it's like, well, I don't actually need uni, I can just wing it, and it's going okay so far.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, I think that was a bit of a drawn out explanation, but
No.
yeah, my creative output generally is writing. I really enjoy it. I love music so much. Like, it's just, I'm just fascinated by music and musicians and just what they do, because it's just such a mystery to me, and I don't really want the mystery to be revealed. One of those things. And we're very lucky in Adelaide that we have such a big and quite diverse Adelaide music scene with a lot of different people and a lot of different genres, so you can explore, and you know, Australia and the outer world, which would be ideal if we can do that. But I'm more than happy staying in Adelaide and Australia at the moment.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I think like with you guys moving to monthly, you can obviously like put in more effort and like better stories and stuff like that. Like,
definitely. And we've got more people working with us too. We have 2 other people that couldn't be here just because of the space, and I don't think. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So I have my brother Angus, who you may know from Running with Scissors. He does kerosene, and he's a brilliant writer. He does kind of whatever he wants to do. I'm just like, hey guys, what's your story? He's like, oh, this thing. I'm like, all right, cool. And then like 2 weeks before publish, like, so I'm actually doing this. I'm like, that's fine. And you like cry because you have to change the page layout. But
so
Always.
you're doing like the InDesign stuff. Or do you use
yeah, you do the
InDesign?
InDesign stuff because you are lucky and you have all the Adobe stuff, because your dad went nuts when he bought like a Mac Pro. So it's like, well, I don't have to buy it, so thank you. But yeah, and then we have one other person that does a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. They're an entity. They're anonymous. They go by Salem. They're from the ether, and they do the heavy metal side. And they had to take a back seat from that for a while just because of uni was getting a bit overwhelming. But hopefully they should be making a comeback soon. Yeah.
You
So-
know, I think it would be scary to write about the music scene
Oh,
in Adelaide, because
it can be.
like you don't want to write any scathing reviews.
Oh.
Like,
We've been there.
yeah.
Well, yeah, no, that has there. Look, I get why it's kind of, yeah, you're right, because the scene is quite insular, because Adelaide's a very small place, and I think we all forget that. Like, we wrote one review, and I was a bit negative in it, and got some backlash with that. Well, understandable. Like, you make a piece of art, and when someone turns around and says, I don't like it, obviously you're going to be offended. But I think a lot of people...
It's like kind of like the same two ways. It's like you're saying, your thing wasn't for me, and they're saying, well, your writing isn't for me.
Being critical is... It's hard because it's like... You got to make sure you're not being personal about it, because music is so broad and everyone's taste is so different. Like you really have to take, like when I listen to music to review it, it's like a total different like person listening to it. I like turn into like this like shell. I'm like, okay, that's good. I like that element. Like I made like albums. I may not personally like the music. I won't listen to it all the time, but I'm like, this is a good album and I think people should listen to it. There's a market for it, but for that song in particular, I was like, I just don't enjoy it. And that's fine. I
feel like it's good, like, to have people who are, like, pushing Adelaide bands to, like, do better.
I know, I agree, because I feel like, especially in Adelaide, I have noticed, like, a lot of people, like, there's a lot of younger musicians out there, and they see what's popular, and they try and emulate that, but I don't think that always makes for good music. I feel like if you're going to go into a band and you're going to put yourself out there, don't worry about what everyone else is doing. Don't worry about what your friends may think of your music. Just make what you want to make, and people will follow you. Like, even if there is no market, like, say you go on stage with, like, some random, like, a bassoon, and you're just, like, playing, and, like, everyone in that room is like, this sucks. Someone is going to find your music, and they're going to find it entertaining. So, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people need to push themselves a bit more and be a bit more critical, because I did say this on the countdown. I said, like, the Adelaide scene is incestuous, but in a good way. And I think about that a lot. And I'm like, well, maybe it wasn't, like, my 6-hour tiredness of, like, he's hanging out in a studio. Maybe it was true. Because I feel like it's great that we've got such a great sense of community, but you can also get a little bit lost in that, because if you're friends with all, like, your peers, you can get a little bit of, like, I don't know, everyone's telling you, like, oh, this is really good, which is great, but no one is, like, being as critical as maybe you want to. And you kind of need that in art. Like, when people give me negative criticism, I'm happy about that, because
like, it hurts at first, but then you can think, how can I apply
you have to remove yourself from the art. That's why people get offended when you give bad reviews, is because it's so personal. Like, art is so personal to everyone. Like, obviously I'm not Blade Runner. I'm not Ryan Gosling. I'm not sitting there just like, yes, you're correct. Like, it does hurt for a bit, but once you can get over that, then you're like, okay, I can see what that person's saying and move on. But obviously there is, some people that do take it a bit too far and, are a bit negative. I haven't experienced that, but you got to figure out the genuine criticism that wants to help you grow, and just people bring you down. Yeah. And that can be kind of difficult, to figure out.
Well, Josh, you're in a band. Well, did you say you're in
3 bands?
3 bands, yeah. Oh my gosh, you're in 3 bands. Kind of coming from the perspective of, like, doing music writing, has that changed the way you operate within your own bands as well?
Oh, definitely. I think also, I play bass for 2 of the bands, and then keyboards for the other one, Blind Coyote. But also just, like, the way you approach your instrument sort of changes the way you sort of see the music as well. But yeah, and I think also, it gives you a bit of a different approach when writing about music as well, just because, like, you sort of notice the things that most people who don't really play an instrument will sort of notice.
True.
And that sort of gives you, like, a very different perspective as well.
I think it's healthy to have some journalism happening in Adelaide, and, like, it's always going to be difficult. Like, I feel like journalism is just always difficult.
Journalism, you have to realise that you are always the bad guy at some point. No one's going to love what you do 100%, but that's also just life. So you just have to get over that. And, like, when you first get pushback, it hurts. You don't feel great, but you got to realise, okay, this is going to happen a few more times. I'm just going to have to figure out a way to deal with it and be better from that criticism, take what's helpful and leave what's harmful. And but definitely, like, journalism, music journalism, and, like, culture journalism in Adelaide has exploded exponentially. There are so many different magazines out there, like The Cut. I think it's called The Cut. or something. I always think it's The Cut, but I know it's called something
The
else.
Note?
The Note. I don't know why I think it's The Cut. The Note. They're everywhere. There's obviously a few other younger people out there doing stuff, and it's great. We need media diversity. You can't just have like 2 or 3 people doing something. You need lots of people getting involved.
So true. Have you guys like met like Zane from Friend Mag and stuff?
I haven't. I know some people that have been in the magazine though, just from work. But yeah, I'd love to talk with him because I mean, he seems like I listened to a little bit of the interview that you did with him. And he's very well spoken. Very cool.
Yeah, he's really cool. Like, and he did that like on his own as well.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like, how? Like, I mean, we do it with 4 people, and we're like, we need like 3 times.
Yeah.
We can't. Yeah. But no, that's incredible. But I think the way he operates is a bit more healthier. Like we have like a solid deadline every month. He does it whenever.
Oh yeah,
like
true.
Yeah. Which is good, and that makes for really good content. And he does a lot of stuff on top of that, like all the events and things like that.
Yeah, the events have looked really cool.
Yeah, no, that looks sick. Now, if he ever watches this, I really like your stuff, dude. And I probably wouldn't have started the magazine if I didn't know Friend did it first, because he was before us, and I was like, oh, okay, so it is possible. I guess what's the worst that can happen? Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Full circle.
That would probably be cool for him to hear that he's inspired other people.
Yeah.
You guys have like worked together, and then like with your brother also, and with Salem, and have you kind of learned anything about working in a team? Like, have you faced any challenges within the team? Like, have you navigated that?
So we're all friends. We're in a relationship. So sometimes, like, it's good to work with your friends, but also people in bands will also know this. If you're all friends, it can be difficult to talk about hard things because it's difficult to remove, like, yourself and the criticism about how something's operating without it feeling like a personal attack. Like, we've had like conversations before where we've had disagreements, and I feel like we're a bit better about it now, but when we first had that it wasn't really an argument, it was more like a disagreement where we're like, okay, we have conflicting views. How do we not take it personally? It's not like this person was saying this because they wanted to hurt you. They were just saying this because it's criticism. Like the same thing with like writing criticism. It's just like, okay, it's difficult, but I think we're all mature enough now to know this. Like, if we're saying something to improve, it's not saying like, yeah, what you're doing right now is shit. Like, it's not that. It's more like, hey guys, this is going well, but we could do this and it can be a whole lot better. But I really would love for more people to submit stuff. We haven't really gotten many submissions yet, or we have, and we haven't been able to hear back from them, probably because of, like, you know,
so your submissions are like open?
They're open. They're always open.
Everyone listening should submit
anything. I'll take anything.
But like, that is one thing we are sort of trying to work on a lot as well. We're sort of coming up with a good way just to sort of like organize what we're doing and to keep people sort of motivated and keep people sort of, you know,
the social media game is difficult too. Like, you have to constantly be posting, and every time you promote something, I found out about this from Ricky Albeck when I interviewed him for an article. He said if Instagram like algorithm figures out you're trying to promote something, they will instantly bury it, so it's harder for your followers and like people to see. So that's why, like, you know, the paid advertisement thing is such a thing. So we have to do that. I don't know, it's hard, and you don't know if you're actually reaching people or not. It's like a whole thing, but you just have to be consistent with it, which we're trying to get better at. But
have you been able to see growth, like not only with social media but also like with the amount of people like getting your mag and stuff?
Yeah, every month we have consistently a few more people. Like right now it's quite a small amount of people, but you know, whoever's reading the magazine, I love you, thank you. Yeah, we can see consistent growth. It's basically getting the word out there and finding the right audience, because I don't know, I think we're going to start making a few of the articles that we make free. Like, we'll pick one every month, and then we'll just put it on Instagram, or we'll make like a free booklet on the website, and people can see that. Because I guess, I mean, the magazine's only $2, so, and it's a digital copy, so you can read it anywhere, anytime. I mean, we want to do physical copies, but I don't think the audience is big enough yet.
Well, that's one thing about our magazine, is that it's completely online, and it goes like through our website. But that's also sort of another like challenge we sort of face, is sort of persuading people to like actually go onto our website and like purchasing like the PDF version of our magazine.
And I don't think many people quite understand what it is now, because it's quite different from what Nothing to Do was. Nothing to Do was like highly structured. It's like, okay, music review, album review, gigs, artist highlight, done. This is a bit different. It's a bit more in depth.
And one thing I found about people online is that they can be very stingy with their money.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like, like if you think about like if you want to buy like something like an app on your phone and it's like 99 cents, you're like,
come
do I really
on.
wanna do that?
Yeah.
Like,
People are just used to like consuming all content free.
absolutely
Yeah.
free,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, so then when you actually have to start paying for it, I mean, we're all guilty of it. My mum has actually been really great at advertising. She seems to think she's an influencer on Facebook.
Okay.
It's great. Love your mum, but
That's
yeah.
good.
So like every time like someone would buy a magazine, sometimes they'd be like, your mum sent me. Love your work. Like, yeah.
That's so cute.
I don't know who you are, but thank you. Yeah.
How do you balance like your jobs with this?
Well,
Where do you guys
That's
work?
difficult.
Like,
you work at a
Yeah, I work at a burger place in Semaphore, which I've worked there for like maybe 7-8 years now. So
burger veteran.
yeah, exactly.
Really
And
good
then
burgers. Barry's Burgers, great.
Barry's
Delicious.
Burgers,
Yeah.
come down.
And I work at Room 19, which is a mind blank, sorry, a cafe. Yeah, it's a cafe in Rundle Street. I love my bosses. I'll probably show my bosses this, so I'll show them. But I mean, it's just normal hours. It's just like we get very overwhelmed very quickly. So when you work like 4 shifts a week, you're like very drained, and it's quite difficult to motivate yourself to do the magazine sometimes. But because we're working on something that we really care about and we're really passionate about, it's quite easy to do the work, but it's very easy to get sucked into the doom scrolling or watching YouTube videos. But and then you're like, oh, I need time to recharge. But then it's like, okay, when is the recharge going to stop and when's like the other working going to start? But it's a difficult balance, but it is doable. I'm not like working. I know a guy who like works 2 jobs, DJs, photography, all that sort of stuff. Like, so most creatives are stretched pretty thin already. So I feel like we've got it pretty good, all things considered. But it is hard. It's quite difficult. But once you motivate yourself to do the work, it's rewarding. Like, you feel good after it.
what's the coolest thing that like has kind of come out of Nothing Special? Like, what's the coolest opportunity you've had, or like maybe your proudest moment?
I remember, at least one for me, this is when we were doing Nothing to Do still. I think we went to like a restaurant or something like that, and then we saw like
This
one
was a-
person just having
looking
it on
at
their
it
phone.
on their phone, and we're like, okay, this feels real now.
Yeah, it's like,
that
oh my
was
god, this is nuts.
I feel like that. And you're like, oh, I've really nothing to do. I'm like, what? And I saw it. I'm like,
That's so cool.
like small things like that. I remember like also it's similar. I was at uni. Well, when I was first year at uni, I used to, for Nothing to Do, I literally would use all my printing credit and just cut out little zines, and I would put them everywhere around the uni. And I saw someone reading it, and I was like,
Aww.
so yeah, I guess the proudest moment is whenever you see people actually engaging with the content, because it's so hard to tell online. It's like, oh cool, I got a receipt, but it feels real when you see someone actually like out in the wild doing it, or like someone saying, oh, I know what that is, and I'm like,
So why did you change the name from Nothing to Do to Nothing Special?
I think I just wanted to separate the two things. I got the name Nothing Special. I was reading Andy Warhol's not his diary, like this, the philosophy of Andy Warhol or something, and he wanted to start a TV show called Nothing Special. So I was like, well, I guess I'll just yank that.
Technically
But-
hasn't used it. so-
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he didn't use it, so I mean, it was free game. But yeah, I ripped it from that. But I feel like Nothing Special. I just, it sounded right. I don't really know how to explain it. I picked Nothing. The reason I named it Nothing to Do was because everyone that lives in Adelaide, young people, are like, there's nothing to do in Adelaide. So I'm like, well, easy, all right, nothing to do then.
I love that.
So just like irony, I guess.
And Andy Warhol just went for the very creative name of Andy Warhol TV.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he
You missed
limped
out on
out.
the
He was
opportunity,
his
yeah.
own
missed
brand
out.
though.
He used to
That's
take
it,
stuff
yeah.
all the time, so really, just making like him and just,
So true.
Warhol.
Yeah.
Now I've got some rapid fire questions. So
Okay.
best and worst things about Adelaide.
I hate the public transport of Adelaide. It just makes no sense to me.
Really?
Actually, I do use public transport a lot, and I feel like it could be a whole lot better. Our train system could be way better.
I also just love how quiet Adelaide is too. It's just
That's the best thing about
Small
Adelaide.
city.
It's small and it's quiet. My worst thing about Adelaide is people saying, "I wish I was in Melbourne." So if you
The complaining.
yeah,
The
they're
complaining.
whinging. It's like everyone whines and complains. It's just like, okay, if you keep complaining about how this place sucks, then it's not going to be good. So either
Yeah.
go somewhere else,
shut up.
or like try and make it like what you want, because I mean we all secretly want to be somewhere else, but I mean why move when you can try and make it
Yeah.
better. Like I feel like we're in such a good time to start changing things in
Yeah,
Adelaide.
be the change you want to see.
Be the change you want to see in the world, okay? Or move to Melbourne. And to be fair, most of the people in Melbourne are very annoying.
Oh.
So, I don't know. They're very on the defensive. It's like, same with Sydney. It's because they're in mega cities. Here is like everyone knows everyone, so you kind of have to be nice. But in Melbourne, it's just
I
like...
feel like when you're inevitably famous and rich, people are gonna love interviewing you because I feel like you just say what you think.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I don't know. I don't have much
give
time.
me the juicy
I just,
stuff.
I don't
You
think, I
Melbourne
just
people are
say,
annoying?
this is what all my friends say. They're just like, there's only one of you. Don't change. I'm like, I don't think I
it's
can.
good.
So, you know, but that's great. I love that.
Where are we most likely to run into you?
It's such a lame answer, but work.
Yeah.
Work or just like wandering around for me.
Yeah, probably at a
wondering.
gig. Like I'm a very anxious person and I spend most of my time at home. So the only time
In
I'm really
bed
out
playing
is if I
Stardew
have to
Valley.
play a gig. Yeah, I'm either playing Stardew
yeah.
or
They'll see you on
Yeah.
the stage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm either
exactly.
I'm
Same
either
thing.
at work or just walking around town.
Do you have something to prove?
Nope. I guess, but
yeah, I guess as well.
if I didn't have something to prove, I wouldn't be doing this.
Exactly.
Every time I make something, I'm like, I'm gonna prove this to you know. Because when I was in high school, I was in like an English class, and I remember I was like at the bottom of my class, but to be fair, I was getting B's, so that's not bad. And my teacher would always like pull me aside and basically write my stuff for me. So I always felt very insecure on my writing abilities. And my brother is a
Like they wouldn't help you.
They would help me, but they would. I don't know, not in a way that I think was helpful.
Yeah.
It was more helpful for the school. I think it was more like to make
focus on the outcome rather than your like development.
Yeah, basically. And my brother's really smart. He's like really great at writing all this sort of stuff. So I'm like, oh well, I can't do it because he's already doing it. But I just started, and then now I'm like, I actually think I am good.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so I guess that's my thing to prove. But apart from that, I guess it's more to prove to myself. It's not really to prove to anyone else, I guess.
I also went from a politics and economics double degree to now doing music and sort of my own sort of journalism and stuff. So
You got
Yeah.
radicalized.
there's definitely a lot of there's definitely a lot of
I think you took
something
the
to
right
prove
path.
there. Yeah, I'm glad I'm technically still enrolled, but I haven't gone in like a year and a half.
Yeah, we
so-
get those calls from like the uni being like,
Yeah,
where
it's-
are you? Like,
not answering.
going to the witness
Decline.
protection program because you're too scared to go to uni. But like, so I need to enroll.
Exactly.
Shout out another Adelaide creative who you admire.
Matt the Real Deal Steele, ex-drummer of Weekend Rage and now drummer of The Hides. He's my best
What
friend.
was the name?
Matt the Real Deal Steele, or Matt Steele.
It's his government name. The real deal.
Wow.
Government name.
No, he's the best drummer in Adelaide, arguably, easily. But yeah, he definitely pushes me to be a better musician.
The artist I want to shout out is Strix. He is a multimedia artist. Great stuff. Check them out. They have hoodies online. Maybe by the time this comes out. I don't know when it comes out, but
Fight, flight, or freeze?
freeze. Freeze.
Um,
I figured that out today, actually.
Definitely, yeah, flight and freeze.
Yeah.
Not a fighter.
No.
A lover, not a fighter.
No, we're not fighters.
Do you guys know your horoscopes or MBTI personality types?
I know my horoscope, and you know your MBI. I'm
Yeah,
a Virgo.
I think we have the same one. It's like
You have the same MBTI.
Yeah,
I don't
Well, we
believe
do.
that for one second.
INFJ plus P. No,
T. It would be T or A.
In private, we're
Yeah,
the same
INF-
person, but in
INFJ.
public, it's like no.
The
Yours
moon
is
and
interesting
the
though
sun and-
because your birth certificate. What's up?
yeah,
with
but this
that?
is yeah. Well,
Oh, hang on a
technically,
minute.
so I was born in Thailand because my parents are like expats, pretty much. So I think the Thai version of the birth certificate says the 23rd of November, but my like translated one says the 21st. So I'm either a
what the
Scorpio
hell?
or Sagittarius.
Dream collaboration and why?
Oh,
I have a joke one and I have a real one.
you go for it.
My joke one would be Julian Casablancas, just because all of his interviews. I don't know what he's doing.
I mean, honestly, kind of the same. Like, Julian Casablancas is like my favorite artist of all time. So that would also kind of be my joke one because it'd be kind of funny. But then I don't know, for like a serious one, again, like definitely not realistic, but like collaborating with someone like Daft Punk or something like that, that would be like,
Oh,
Unreal.
you would die.
I would die.
Yeah.
Who would you love to see reading Nothing Special?
Oh man, that's a good one.
And the same answer, Julian Customer.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
I feel like
If you don't
he's like
know
very
me.
for like the free media, so I think he'd get it. But I don't know, literally anyone. If I saw anyone, as long as you're not like an awful person or something.
Yeah.
Okay, and the real one is if I can bring them back from the dead, it would be David Bowie.
It was an acquaintance with my dad though.
Really?
Because you're a nepotism baby.
I technically am, yeah.
Your dad knew David Bowie?
Yeah, so he was a saxophone player of the Psychedelic Furs, which was like a British post-punk band. They did like Pretty in Pink, Love My Way and stuff like that.
I love that song.
But yeah, he actually sort of, or the band sort of knew David Bowie, and the reason he left is because my dad wanted to get David Bowie as the producer of their third album, but the rest of the band didn't want to do that. So,
Right.
yeah, he left the band.
Wow.
Moved to Hong Kong and Cambodia and stuff. So
Oh my god.
Great guy, you should
That
interview
is a
him.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Duncan.
he's worth
Truly.
it.
Duncan Kilburn.
Duncan
Great
Kilburn.
guy. Yeah.
I'm curious about like what change you would like to see made to the Adelaide creative scene. What do you think would make it easier for young people starting their own magazine?
No gatekeeping and more diversity, because we are diverse, but I feel like we're not as diverse as we could be. And I feel like because it's like it's cool to go to gigs, you know, some people want to gatekeep it, and it can't sustain and it can't grow if you gatekeep. Also, be open to other people's music. Don't just go to the same gigs every week. Try and go to different bands every week. Expose yourself to new music. Even though you love this band, listen to their stuff on Spotify, and hey, go to like a newer band, because there's so many popping up, and you know, that every band needs the support.
Also, Adelaide is a very small place, which can make it difficult to sort of grow as like a magazine or as a band or anything like that. So sort of, yeah, keeping your eyes sort of looking ahead outside of Adelaide too is probably another good
not
tip.
just like looking to get out of Adelaide as soon as possible, but
Yeah.
also understanding that you will grow if you are able to
Like being
seek
inspired.
other opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah, be inspired.
There's more to life than this city.
Yeah,
Right, there's more to life than like the one band you see every Wednesday.
Exactly.
yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. Also holding bad people accountable for their bad actions.
So what's the future of Nothing Special?
I
Well.
guess just keep on going. We're so new already. We've only got 4 issues out, so I guess it's constantly improving. We'd love to have more people on board, get more people in the team permanently.
We also want to really break into actually sort of printing the magazines as well. So that's probably like one of our next big steps.
What do both of your dream lives look like when you're completely unqualified? Oh no, completely qualified. I say it wrong every time.
That's okay.
And completely unafraid.
Oh, we've had a few ideas. Like, well, at least the biggest one for me is, you know, living in a cottage in the middle of nowhere and being able to sustain myself or ourselves comfortably, you know. Yeah, that's
Grow your
my end
food.
goal. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
mine's basically the same. Just like work from home, do the things that I like to do, and just have enough to vibe.
Have a lot of dogs. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Get bees. I would
Yeah.
love bees.
Yeah, we love watching like camping videos and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
camping videos, farm videos, or something.
Yeah, basically live a very humble life. I think I'd be happy if I had no money and doing the things that I like. Then I would be happy like working an awful job and making lots of money. So
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. That's lovely, guys. How can people support you and the magazine?
Buy it now.
Follow us on Instagram, nothingspecial.mag. I
Yeah,
think it is.
nothingspecial.mag.
All right, awesome. Thank you guys so much for coming on.
All right,
thank you for
thanks
having us.
This podcast was shot by Darcy Sharp and Jack Langford with sound from Paddy Madden and was a Jessica Rowe creative production.